This morning, we're showing you the latest in home improvement from the Denver Home Show. But when you're inviting someone into your home, you want to be sure the work is done safely, effectively, and legally. Here to explain is attorney Phil Harding from Harding & Associates, who answers our legal questions every Friday. Welcome, Phil, to the show on this Home Denver Friday episode.
Spring
is in the air, and everybody wants to do those remodels.
They do, right?
But problems can happen when you invite contractors who aren't so honest into your home.
I know. It's one of those tough questions. I'm glad that we're going to talk about that. I know our viewers are caring and trusting people, but I want them to beware of contractors that really aren't so nice. I'm going to outline some steps that they can take, and it's going to take just a little work. But in the end, they're going to thank me for all these tips.
So when you invite someone into your home and problems start to happen, let's say they don't finish their work, are there things that you can do?
Yeah, there's really a two-step process that we need to go through here. The first thing is this little homework that we're going to do on the front end is going to save so many aggravations and fights and missing money and make sure that the work is done right for you. Here are some of the tips that you need to follow before you hire someone to do any work on your house. And let's talk about these things. First of all, don't allow any uninvited contractor to inspect or look around your house. There are a lot of companies that go out there and canvass neighborhoods. And they say, oh, we're in the neighborhood, can we just look at your house and give you a bid? Run from people like that. I mean, some of them are legit, but still, watch out for that. Once you've narrowed down the search, I want you to also look on the internet about this company or person that you want to have work done, because you know, people do ratings all the time. Ask for references, at least 3 references, and I want you to call those references. Also do a Better Business Bureau search. Now, you're going to get 3 or more bids, and then never, ever, ever sign a contract when they give it to you right away and say, we want to go ahead with the work, we can schedule it tomorrow, we just want you to sign this contract. And so that's a big problem. And let me tell you, I have a confession for you. It happened.
I'm surprised this happened to you of all people.
I know.
What happened?
And so here's the problem. I, many years ago, hired someone to do some work on my house. And I violated some of these pointers. I didn't even have those pointers at that time. And I ended up paying for it. Even if you don't pay for the person on the front end, you can be stuck in a contract and then your house sits there. Now, what happens is they started the work, they never finished it, so I had to do this suit. It's called an anticipatory repudiation.
Did you use that word on them, or you just followed through with it?
We weren't even talking at that point.
I can imagine.
But I had to get out of that contract so I could get another contractor to work on this thing and finish up the house. And I was, so chagrined that it happened to me. But, as an attorney, I was able to bring the lawsuit. Imagine if you're not an attorney, you can't bring the lawsuit. There are some other things that I want you to do. I want, after you've gone through, after you've talked to individuals and narrowed it down, I want you to look at the contract. And I want to tell you exactly what you should look for in the contract. Don't sign that contract right away. I want you to look at it overnight, read it, and go over it. And here are the things that this contract has to say. How much are you going to pay? Right? Makes sense. When will the work be done? For example, when is it going to start and when are they going to end? And I'm not saying that you ask for what's known as per diem late charges, but when it will end, and if it doesn't end by then, can you get them out and get another contractor in? That's what happened to me.
But can I ask you a question? It never ends when they say that it's going to end.
I know, so give them a grace period. You ask them and say, when do you think they're going to end? And they say, May 15th. And you're like, okay. May 15th, I'm going to give you an additional 20 days after that.
Oh, okay. So, write it in there.
Yeah, right. So you're going to finish by June 1st and give them additional time and say, I believe you, but I'll give you an extra 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Let's go back to that graphic and talk a little bit more about a couple things that are on there.
Yeah, because it's talking about independent contractor. Why do you need to have that in there?
Well, and so here's the thing. They state that they're an independent contractor, because if not, they may come back if someone is injured on the property and say, you hired us, we worked for you, you were supposed to have workers' compensation insurance. And so they can sue you for that. Also, I want them to name you on their insurance certificate as an additional insured. And we're going to talk about that here just in a second.
You want to name yourself?
You want the contractor to name you, yes. as an additional insured. And also, at the end of the project, the contractor is going to provide lien releases. And that shows that they paid for, let's say they're doing roofing, that they paid for the suppliers, they paid for the workers, they paid for all of that. So in case any of these guys come back and sue you, then you can show these lien releases and get out of it. Now, here's an important thing about an independent contractor. You know how these people walk around with their books and they say, look at all this great work that I did, and here, right here, look at this. We have insurance, and they show you a photocopy of a certificate of insurance. You don't know about that certificate of insurance. You don't know if it's been canceled because they're just showing they could have paid and gotten that insurance and then canceled it. Now, when you're named as an additional insured, that means they have to go back to the insurance company, get a new certificate of insurance issued with your name on it as additional insured. I'm going to tell you why else that's really important. Because if you're just presenting a claim and you're not an additional insured, again, the insurance company is insuring, let's say, the roofing company. When you're an additional insured, then the insurance company is also insuring you, so they owe an additional duty to you as an additional insured.
Gotcha. What if somebody gets hurt at your house? Do you have to have additional insurance for that?
Well, let's talk about this because it's really important. Make sure that your homeowner's insurance is up to date as well. If someone brings a claim against you, you need to know that you're insured. If the person's insurance got canceled, right, then your homeowner's insurance is going to step in. Another thing that we talked about in the past are these umbrella policies. This umbrella policy that you can put on your house if you have your house and your car with the same insurance adds $1 million on top. Right?
Okay.
So now you have $1 million of additional insurance on top of that. And it's so important to go over that and make sure you have that. And now one last thing. We'll do it next week.
We will do it next week. Sorry we have to wrap up today, but these are all great tips. Now, if you have any legal questions for Phil, he wants to hear from you. Just log on to coloradosbest.tv, look for his photo and click there. You can submit your legal questions, and he takes the time to answer them personally. He might even address your question right here on Colorado's Best. If you would like to contact Phil at his office, Harding & Associates, the number is 303-762-9500, or online at hlaw.org. Coming up on